Okay, we're filming. Good morning, everybody. Bruchot habaot. If you are using the Hebrew version, means you're opening the book from the right-hand side. We're on Daf Kuf Hey, and we're just a little bit below the middle of the page. If you are using the English, page 231, opening from the left-hand side, and it is the second paragraph from the bottom. Okay, do you have it?
Okay. Ladies, just so we're not interrupted, please shut your phones off. My phone. We're silent mode.
Okay. So today's daf starts with Bo'omine Ravina me Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. So Ravina asked a question of Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. And here's a good practical question for us. Mishalo Kiddush b'erev Shabbos. So suppose Friday night I did not make Kiddush. Okay. Maho shi Kaddish v'holech kol hayom kulo. Am I permitted to make Kiddush all day? Right? I had a hard day of work, which I remember when I used to work, and I came home, I was tired, and I sat down to take a little nap, and I missed Kiddush. I didn't say Kiddush. So now I get up in the morning and say, oh boy, I didn't make Kiddush. Am I permitted to make Kiddush during the day? Okay. So, Amalei mid Amri b'nei Rabbi Chia. So we learned that the sons of Rabbi Chia said, Mishalo hivdil b'motzoi Shabbos, somebody who did not make Havdalah on Saturday night, right? Similar parallel situation. Mal dilva holech kol Shabbos kulo. He's permitted to make Havdalah, and when it says kol Shabbos means all week. So does it really mean all week? No, what it really means is until Wednesday, because we sort of count our weeks by Shabbos. So Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday relates to the previous Shabbos. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is to the next Shabbos. So anyway, the point is that if I did not make Havdalah Saturday night, I'm permitted to make Havdalah up until Tuesday afternoon, really. Okay. Hachanami here too. So to answer our question about Friday night, Mishalo Kiddush b'erev Shabbos, somebody who did not make Kiddush on Friday night, Mikadesh v'holech kol ha'yom kulo. He's permitted to say Kiddush the entire day. Okay? Basically. So a question is raised about that. Leile Shabbos v'leile Yom Tov. So the eve of Shabbos and the eve of Yom Tov. Margaret, you have a question?
No, we are reading. I can't hear.
Oh, okay. So if you're starting from the Hebrew, okay. So we're on Kuf Hey, and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 lines up from the bottom.
Okay.
And in the English, you're on page 231.
Thank you.
Okay, and it's the bottom paragraph on 231. Okay. So a question is raised. Leile Shabbos v'leile Yom Tov, yesh ben kedusha ala kos. So the kiddush is made on a cup, it means a cup of wine. V'yesh ben hazkara b'birkas hamazon, and we also have zikaron, remembrance, in benching, right? Because when we bench on Shabbos, we add in ritzei v'achlitzenu, right? That's a special paragraph just for Shabbos. And if we are benching on Yom Tov, what do we add in our benching? Yalav Yavo, exactly. So that's it's a remembrance of the fact that we are now either it's Shabbos or it's Yom Tov. So in that case, Shabbos v'Yom Tov ein b'hem kedusha ala kos v'yein b'hem v'yesh b'hen haskara b'virikas hamazon. So if you missed saying Kiddush, you do mention it in benching. So if you might think, Mishlo Kiddush b'erev Shabbos, Mekadesh v'holech kol hayom kulo, if you are of the opinion that somebody did not make Kiddush Friday night, he's permitted to say Kiddush the entire day. Shabbos v'yom tov nami mashkachas lahu. So it is found relating to Shabbos and to Yom Tov, the Yesh ben Kedusha ala kos, that there is the making of the kiddush on the cup of wine. Dilo kiddush me'urta, because if you did not make the kiddush in the evening, mekadesh l'mochar, you can make kiddush tomorrow, the next day. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with this right now, because I brought you a handout, and it's actually a quotation, it's a citation from a Aseret Dibros, where Shabbos is mentioned. So if you take a look at number 1, they're little tape flags. It's two sides of the page. So where you see the number 1,
No, please.
it's in the handout. Okay, everybody have it? So the pasuk says, "Zachor es Yom HaShabbos l'kadsho." Remember the day of Shabbos to make it holy, right? So number 2 is Rashi. Do you see that flag where it shows the Rashi? Okay, so what does Rashi have to say about our pasuk? Rashi says, so if you take a look at Rashi, remember Rashi is a little different script. It's not the same script as the Torah script. They say that he possibly invented the script himself, but it doesn't matter. It says Zachor, so he says Zachor v'Shamor v'Dibor Echad ne'amru. There were 2 declarations made simultaneously, which only God can do. We can't do that. We can't say 2 words at the same time. So God said Zachor and Shamor, both at the same time. And then he gives a couple other examples of similar types of things. So that's the first. Now, if you take a look, if you flip over to the back at number 3, okay. So this is the one that I really wanted to learn with you together. It says Nashim Chayavot B'Kiddush, right? Hayom Devar Torah. So it's a Torah obligation for women to make Kiddush too. Okay? And this is the Ramban saying so, it's not Cheslo saying so. This is the Ramban. It says that women are obligated in Kiddush, right? Shenemar, because the pasuk says Zachor v'Shamor. So Zachor is positive commandments, Shamor negative. So Zachor is aseh, do. Shamor means do not. Los aseh, do not do. So we have a principle that women are not obligated in mitzvahs aseh shezman grama. Means a positive commandment which is time dependent. Why? Because you're raising children, right? And then when the baby cries or whatever it is, you have to take care of that. So you can't be in a situation where you have to decide what to do. So those mitzvahs which are time dependent, women are not obligated in that. That's only the positive ones. But since the mitzvah of making kiddush, Zachor and Shamor, positive and negative, were said simultaneously, now you're in the game, right? It says, right, Nashim Chayavos B'Kiddush Hayom Devar Torah Shenamar Zachor v'Shamor Kol Sheyeshno B'Shmira Yeshno B'Zechira. Everybody who is obligated in the negative, since they both were said at the same time, is obligated in the positive as well, right? And then it says Bahani Nashi, and that means women. Hoil v'isnu b'shmira, isnu b'zechira. Since they are obligated in the negative not to violate Shabbos, they also are obligated in the positive to welcome in the Shabbos to say Kiddush. Right? It says, right? Janashim chayavos v'shmira shevechol mitzvos lo sasehen chayavos, because every negative commandment, women are obligated the same as men. Okay. However, if not for the fact that they were a negative together with it, you would not be obligated in remembering, because that is a mitzvah saseh shazman grama, right? That's another good one to remember, like Yak Nahaz and Psikresh and all that, because mitzvah saseh shazman grama nashim peturos, right? But nashim peturos, he says. Ella shahekesh hazeh, pardon? Okay, so hakesh hazeh mechayavosan. So this connection, that they are connected one to another, makes women obligated in Kiddush just as well as men. Okay, so that was just that was for extra credit, but I just wanted to bring that in. So that's actually, it's the pasuk that gives the obligation to make Kiddush and to observe Shabbos, and the commentaries of Rashi and Ramban. Okay. Okay, so going on in our Gemara.
David, one quick question.
Sure.
It's Kiddush on Friday night and Shabbos day.
So that's another question, because the Kiddush on Shabbos day is that there's a difference of opinion whether it is a Torah commandment or not. But Friday night for sure. So. Okay.
So Friday night Kiddush can be made on Shabbos morning, technically.
If you missed, if you missed, right.
Yeah.
Right. Did I tell you that I once lit candles on
Yeah,
Friday
you
night?
did.
I did. Okay.
Yeah, I was too sick.
But so far, Mindel hasn't had to make Kiddush on Friday night, so far, we're okay on that. Okay. We just, Kiddush is the Eraisa. It's a Torah obligation, and it's an obligation on me, and it's an obligation on you just as well.
But it's not this month. It's not, you don't have to do it right away when you come from shul. You have to do it when
Well, we're gonna get to that right away.
Because if you're feeding a baby,
Right?
common knowledge tells you you're not going to tell the baby, wait a minute, I have to make Kiddush, and you'll eat a little later. There's no such thing. So it has to wait for the time that you're finished feeding, and then you can do the Kiddush.
Okay, so remember, the Torah believes in common sense. So common sense is going to tell you that you're feeding the baby, you're going to take, yes, Adam?
Well, common sense is that shamor is positive, not negative. You're saying common sense, shamor
So,
is positive.
okay,
How did
so-
you get the negative?
Because we have a rule that anywhere in the Torah where it says shamor,
Double.
al, pen, these expressions, it always means a negative. Okay, and zachor, to remember, is the positive. So I mean, think about it. Shamor means like to guard yourself, to protect yourself against doing a negative. Whereas zachor is that positive. Go ahead and take the action.
He's saying here that by the second luchos was zachor, not shamor. And maybe it was on the first luchos, but Moshe Rabbeinu didn't even tell them that. So where do you get this shamor from?
So here we go.
So in the pasuk.
Right. That's what Rashi is telling us. And Ramban says the same thing. Ramban and Rashi,
says-
both of them say zachor v'shamor v'dibur echad nemru.
The dibur, but written down.
So the
Written with
lakadsho,
zachor.
right? Very good. So there's where it says lakadsho, that is zachor et yom HaShabbat lakadsho. So that gives us the
The
negative.
shamor.
Right. So there you go. Okay. So let's go on. So we said that there is, if you didn't do it at night, you do it at the daytime. Omar lay, so he responded to him, he's the e lokatani. It didn't say if. In other words, this is an obligation. Esve, another question is raised. Kvod yom, kvod laila. Whether you have to give honor to the day or give honor to the night, kvod yom kodem. The day, honor the day comes first. And from our pasuk it says, zachor es Yom HaShabbos, right? So he's saying that the day is really more important than the night. V'im ein lo ela kos echad, and if he has only one cup, let's say a person has only one cup of wine, so Omer alav Kiddush Hayom. He should say the Kiddush during the day. Okay? Mipnei sheKiddush Hayom kodem lekvod Yom, because the Kiddush of the day is giving honor to the day of Shabbos. And in parentheses, for Lila. If it's in parentheses, we can discard it. It's not discarded. It's not necessarily part of the approved text. Vim Esau, and if you want to say liv shivakei ad lamachor l'levet beitarti. So let's say, suppose he has one cup of wine. What should he do? Maybe he should put it aside, and the next day make 2 kiddushes on 1 cup. Right? Make the nighttime kiddush and the daytime kiddush on 1 cup. Amar lei. No, he says, so this is to answer the question that Rita raised. Chaviva mitzvah b'shata. A mitzvah is beloved in its proper time. So that means when we come home from shul, as soon as possible, we should be making kiddush. So yes, if we're nursing the baby or whatever it is, but as soon as possible, because that's the best way to observe the mitzvah is in its proper time. So the Gemara says, is that so? Who told you? It says, Umi amrina chaviva mitzvah b'shata. Is that so? That it is preferred to do the mitzvah in its time? He says, Tanya, we learned in a brisa, hanichnas leveis of amotzoi Shabbos. So now I come home from shul Saturday night, right? Mevorach al hayayin v'al ha'or v'al ha'samim. So I make the bracha on the wine and on the fire, on the light, the fire, and on the besamim. By the way, does that sound correct? So which goes first, the light or the spices?
The light.
Is that right? What do we say on Saturday night? We say Bori Begafa, and then we say
No, besamim.
we say Bori and Besamim, not Bori, and then right. So right away that should like set up an alarm, because we know, how do we practice? We practice like Beis Hillel, who says that the spices come first and then comes the fire. Okay, but in the meantime, the Gemara is telling us that so this statement, which we're examining right now, is based on the opinion of Beis Shammai, because he said that the fire comes first, right? Okay. But anyway, that's just a parenthetical statement. If we get to, we'll deal with this in a little while. So Achakach Omer Havdalah Halakos, and then he makes the bracha Hamavdu ben Kodesh L'chol on the wine. Okay. Ein lo ela kos echad, and if all he has is one cup, which we learned this last week, Manicho ad lachar hamazon, he holds on to that, saves that cup, and until he eats, the mishal shon kulan lacharav, and he joins together the havdalah and the benching, because remember, some people bench with a cup of wine, right? So we have to make havdalah on the coast. We have to do birkat hamazon on the coast. So if we only have one cup, so he says, save it. V'lo amrina and chaviva mitzvah v'shata. And what happened to the idea that I should make Havdalah immediately when I come home? I'm waiting now until I'm going to eat a meal, right? So that's going to be a little while. And so what happened to that principle that you just quoted to me? Amalei. So now the answer that he is giving is that he says, Anola chakima, I'm not such a smart man, he says, and I'm not a seer, I don't know the future. And I'm not such a special individual. But I arrange things. And in the Batei Midrash, in the yeshivas, they do it the way I said. So he says that we do wait if we only have one cup. So that means that we can delay making Havdalah, because Shani Lon Ben Ayula Yoma Lafuki Yoma. There is a difference in terms of Shabbos between the entrance of Shabbos and the exit of Shabbos, right? We're permitted to start Shabbos early, are we not? That most of us do that. We're allowed to start Shabbos early. Are we allowed to end Shabbos early? No, we're not, right? So he says there's difference between the entrance and the exit. What? We do. And for example, when we do Sfirat HaOmer, right, between Pesach and Shavuos, we count the Omer. So on Saturday night, we count the Omer first, and then we make Havdalah, because we're extending the day. Okay. So now he says, Ayula Yoma Kol Kama Demakdeminan Le Adif. So in the entry of the day, so beginning of Shabbos, anyone who starts Shabbos early, that's good, that's preferred actually. And it shows his love for the Shabbos. Afuka Yoma, when Shabbos is going out, Macharinan Le, you can delay it, right? Lehevi Alan Ketuna. And because we don't want the mitzvah to be not like a tuna fish, but tuna means a burden. We shouldn't rush, like my friend's father owned a furniture store and as soon as Shabbos ended, they were in the car and heading to check to open the store. So, it's okay. He kept Shabbos, but he rushed to so that made it feel like he was in a hurry to end Shabbos. So you don't want to be doing that. Okay, so now we're going to use the whiteboard, because the next one says that there are 8 principles that we can learn from what we've just been talking about, and we'll see how many of them are familiar to us. Okay.
So, if you have 1 cup, so you
Yep.
don't do Friday night and you don't do Shabbos lunch, you wait for Havdalah?
No,
Doesn't make
no,
sense.
no, no, no. So you're certainly going to make Kiddush. If
When the night,
e-
you only have 1
either,
cup.
so you could make Kiddush during the day.
So you
That's
don't
what
make it
they're
night, you
saying.
make during the
You
day,
can make it
right.
during the day, right? And in terms of Havdalah, so if you're intending to eat and you're going to be benching and it's your practice to use a cup of wine when you bench, they're saying, according to this opinion, you can save that cup
Divide it.
For Havdalah and
for Havdalah and
benching.
benching the same cup.
Okay.
Okay?
In Europe, when they weren't able to get wine very often, they just made Kiddush over the challahs over the level Mishnah.
Oh, well,
Right, so
well,
maybe we're going to get to that today, maybe we won't, but the Gemara discusses making Kiddush on bread, and they're going to talk about making Havdalah on beer, because,
There were times when
there
they
is a concept called Chamar Medina, which means the common drink of the area. So if something is considered appropriate, then you could use that for Havdalah as well. So that's why some people make Havdalah on beer. Some people make Kiddush on whiskey, right? A lot of people do. So, yeah, Shabbos morning.
Whiskey, but not Friday night.
Right. So, but again, it's the same concept, because this is acceptable. Okay, so let's see what we're going to find out from this. So it says Shema Minami Ha Masnisan Tma Tamni. So we're going to learn 8 different principles from this brisa that we just quoted. So what are they? First one is Shema Minaha Mavdi B'Tefila Tzorech Shiavdil Ala Kos.
Bottom of 232.
233 on top.
233 on that.
It's 232
Okay, so
at
the first one is,
Okay, whatever.
what does it say? If I made Havdalah in shul, in my Shemona Esrei, in the Amida, right? Because we say in our Shemona Esrei on Saturday night, we say Atachan Antanu, right? That's Havdalah. I still need to do it at home as well. Right? See what he says? He says Shema Minah, right? Hamavde b'tefillah. Somebody makes Havdalah in his prayer, in his tefillah. Tzarech shiavdil al hakos. He also has to make Havdalah on the cup of wine, which we're doing at home. That's number 1. Ushma Minah bracha te'una kos. And the second one is that Havdalah requires wine.
Didn't you just say they could make it on beer if they wanted?
Wait,
We're gonna get to that.
No, I'm
Maybe
here.
we'll get to it. But
This is Havdalah.
Havdalah, you could, some people do make Havdalah on beer,
Yeah.
and we're going to see the source for it.
Okay.
Maybe this week, maybe next week, but it will come up. So that's 2.
Even juice.
Okay, and then it says Shema Mino HaMavorach Tzarech Sheyit'om, and the third is that you're supposed to drink something from your Havdalah. That's number 3. Okay, what's number 4? Number 4, it says Shema Mino Ta'amo Pagamo. So, and we also learned that if somebody drank from that cup, he sort of messed it up, right? If you taste it, if you drink from it, how would I say that in a couple of words?
It's spoiled.
Not that it's spoiled. You diminished it. You made it. You disqualified it. In other words, once you drink from that cup, you can't use it for another mitzvah.
it's puzzled.
But you can add more wine to it and then it's okay.
I'm not sure about that.
That's what
Who said that?
I've heard that.
Okay. So that's,
Saying that the
We hear a lot
Havdalah
of
wine,
things.
that
And
they
it's
make
not
Havdalah,
other.
that you
No,
cannot
but
use
we
that
hear a
wine,
lot
you
of
cannot,
things. Let's
like,
go with the
make
readings.
something, you just have to throw
This
it
is
out if you
real.
don't drink the whole cup?
People have.
Is that?
you don't have to throw it out, but you can't use it for another mitzvah. Once you've made the bracha on it, you drank something from
You
it,
can't add to it, put it back into the bottle?
you're gonna see right away. Okay? Ushmamina tom mavdil, and then it says that drinking of the wine, that makes the Havdalah. So drinking makes Havdalah. Or affects Havdalah. I'm gonna run out of room, but that's okay. That's 5. Ushmamina omer beis kedushos al kos echad, right? And we learned that you can Friday night and Shabbos morning you use 1 cup, right? So that's number 6.
What was that again?
That you can make 2 kiddushes on one cup. Okay, 7 is this is Shmamina Beishamai. Okay, and we learned from this is Beishamai, right? Because why did we say it's Beishamai? Because he said what comes first, the spices or the fire came first, right? Right. So this whole discussion is based on the opinion of Beis Shammai. Okay. And number 8 is Ubeis Shammai hi v'alibad Rabbi Yehuda, and it's Beis Shammai according to Rabbi Yehuda. So there's 8 statements that we can learn from this discussion we've had. Okay, so let's go on. Rav Ashi Amar, so let's explain now how these things work. Amo pagamo v'kol shavracha tzarech shir. So he says, he's giving us another example or another statement that's connected with this. He said if somebody drinks from it, he has diminished it and he's disqualified it. And the kos shavracha tzarech shir, that there's a minimum size. So if you have, there's a big cup over there, that would certainly qualify. But if you have the amount of wine that you have to use for kiddush, kos, shabrach, all these things, there's a minimum size. So if it's about 3.5 ounces or whatever it is, so if I have a cup which is exactly that amount, and now I drink something from it, so now it's less, right?
But can't you just refill it?
So that's a possibility. So, but the point is that if don't forget that's all I had,
Oh, okay.
right? So now if I drink from it, I can't use it again because it's now less than the required quantity, right?
Can you add to it?
If I had more wine, maybe I could, but I don't have. All I have is 1 cup.
If you have more wine.
If I had more wine, I could make 2 cups. I wouldn't have to do those whole process. I'm right. I'm saying that my situation, God forbid any of us come into that situation, but that's all I had. So okay.
Must you drink a certain amount?
That's what I'm saying. If
Well,
you
what
have
is
half a cup,
here? Take a look. Number 3 is you must drink. If you, no matter if you have exactly the quantity required, and you drink any amount at all,
Can you pour it off
And can
and
you-
then drink
Can you
it?
dilute it?
even so, because there is a minimum. Where it
Is
is.
there a minimum?
You said 3.5 ounces
Right.
for number 3?
This is actually number 3 is you have to drink, and the fact that there's a minimum share, that's Rav Ashi, that's after these 8. But the point is that if let's say it's 3.5 ounces and I pour some off, now I have 3 ounces. That's not going to work because I don't have the required minimum amount.
Can you dilute it? There's grape juice that's like grape juice, and that's diluted basically.
Okay, but it's diluted to the point that the OU gives the hextra on it. They say it's okay. So whatever it's, and by the
My
way,
question is, if you have the
Right.
full one,
right?
and you're missing X amount, a small amount, can you dilute it?
Can you add water to it and make it better? Ask the rabbi.
People do that.
Whether
People do that.
I don't know. Their wine, they didn't drink their wine straight. Their wine was much stronger than our wine. It was thicker. It was a lot more alcoholic. So they, in fact, if they drank it, they couldn't make a bar pirguffen on it because it wasn't considered like wine. You have to first dilute it. Jill?
But you can dilute on Pesach to have a coast.
That's based on a question that you probably asked the rabbi, right? What you could do. So that's why I'm not going to say to you how to do it, what quantity, whatever. That's one of those questions that you should ask.
If one who makes the Havdalah and cannot, for reasons of health, let's say sugar or alcohol,
Right.
cannot drink that amount of wine, can the person, let's say me,
Right.
hearing the Havdalah, can I finish the amount that needs to be finished?
So in none of these principles does it say how much you have to drink, just as you have to drink, okay? So how much you have to drink. Most people don't drink a lot of the wine from Havdalah. Some people drink the whole thing, but that's not in this. These 8 don't talk about how much you must drink. Okay, so let's see how much more we can get done. Okay. So now we have Rabbi Yaakov Bar Idi Kapid Achatzpa Pekima. So he was concerned not only a cup that was the word diminished or whatever. He said even a pitcher. Rabbi Idi Bar Shisha Kapid Akasa Pekima. He was concerned about just a cup. Mar Bar Ravashi Kapid Afilo Achavisa Pekimta. So even if it was a barrel, a small barrel, and some of the wine had poured off, so they wanted always a full cup. Tanarabanu. Zachor Yom HaShabbos Tekadsha, right? So we say you should. This is the other place where, just as Margalit said, over here we have Zachor Yom HaShabbos Tekadsha. That's our pasuk that we quoted. So Zachreu al Hayayin. So the Zachor, the remembering of it, making kiddush, that's on wine. Ein le'ela b'yom. So we said, what does the pasuk say? The pasuk says Zachor es Yom HaShabbos Tekadsha. That is the night. V'layla minayin. So how do we know if all we had was this one pasuk? How do we know that we make kiddush at night? Right? Because it says, what does the pasuk say? It says Zachor es Yom HaShabbos Tekadsha. How do we know we're supposed to say kiddush at night? Talmud Lomar. So it comes to teach us Zachor es Yom HaShabbos Tekadsha. So he says Balayla minayin. He says Adarabah. He says just the reverse. He's Iker Kedusha Balayla Hu Kaddish. That the essence, the most important kiddush that we make is the one we make at night. Why? He says the ki kiddush, because if he makes kiddush, techilas yom avoy kedusha. When you make kiddush, when the Shabbos begins, you are indicating you've accepted the Shabbos on yourself, and you are declaring that it's Shabbos. So that's the essential, not the one that we do during the day.
Oh, because
Is it because
it says exactly, I was gonna say.
So the day begins, our days begin the night before, right? So kiddush, so Shabbos comes in, and we're going to make kiddush. That's the most important. Vesu, and furthermore, Balayla minayin. How do we know that we do make kiddush at night? Talmud Lomar Zachoris Yom. So we remember the day. Tana mihadar alayla v'kanasiv leikra diyamama. So it's talking about the night, but then we add also the day. He says, Hachakamer, this is what it should say. Zachoris Yom HaShabbos L'Kadsho. So remember the Shabbos, right, to make it holy. Zochreu al Hayayin b'knisaso. So remember Shabbos with wine. When? When Shabbos is entering, right? When Shabbos is beginning. So Ein Ella Balayla. So okay, now if you're telling me that the main kiddush is at night, and if you're telling me that our pasuk says Zachor Yom HaShabbos Tekadsho, it means nighttime. So now Kate's question, right? Bayom minayin. How do we know we make kiddush during the day, right? Talmud Lomar, the pasuk says Zachor Yom HaShabbos. So you're supposed to make kiddush on the day, right? So we take the literal understanding of the pasuk that day. So by Yom Ma'im Avarech, so what bracha do you make during the day? Amar Rabbi Yehuda, he says Beis Pei Hey Gimel. So basically, the type of kiddush that we make is Beis Pei Hey Gimel means Bari Priyagofen. That's a abbreviation. So the kiddush, so he's saying the kiddush during the day is just make a bracha on the wine, which that's not how we practice it, right? We're going to learn more about that. But we some people just say Al Kain Be'erach, right? And some people repeat the 2 paragraphs. But the main part of making kiddush during the day is, according to Rabbi Yehuda, Bari Priyagofen, right? Rav Ashi Ikla L'Mechoza. Okay, now here's one of these interesting cases where people were trying to find out how to practice, and they wanted to know how the great people actually did it, and they didn't want to ask. So what they did was they asked them to lead the particular part of the service, and they could figure out, they could see what they're doing. So Rav Ashi came to Mechoza, the town of Mechoza. Amru lei, they said to him, Likadish lan mar kedusha rabbah. So they asked him to make kedusha rabbah, which is the kiddush made during the day. The kiddush that we make on Shabbos morning before lunch. That's called kedusha rabbah. So they asked him to make that kiddush. So he began to wonder why he's a guest. They wanted to give him honor, but still, he says havulei. So they handed him the cup to make kiddush. Savar. So he's thinking, what do they do in this neighborhood? Right? He knew what he did in his place, but now he came to somewhere else, and even then he was aware of the fact that our religion is practiced different ways in different places, right? So he thought to himself, my niu kedusha rabbah, what do they do? Right? Amar, he says, Mifti, he says, well, let's take a look. Kol habrachos kulan b'bari pi'agafen amri b'reisha. So all the brachos, all the kiddush. So we make our kiddush on Friday nights. So we say Yom HaShishi, which is basically introductory, but the kiddush itself follows the Bari Piragafen. So first came Bari Piragafen, and then comes the kiddush. Saturday night we make Bari Piragafen, and then we make Havdalah, right? So the Bari Piragafen, the bracha on the wine, comes first, right? So he says, Bari Piragafen always comes first. So Omar Bari Piragafen. So he said, Bari Piragafen. Vagid Bey. So, and then, he dragged it out. He made it slow because he wasn't sure whether they're going to be expecting something other than that, right? Chazilahu Saba, the Gachin Bashasi. And he noticed a certain old man drank the wine. So he realized that's what they do in Mechoza. So he stopped right there, right? He says, Kori Anafshi. So he said to himself, HaChocham Eina Barosho. A wise man has the eyes in his head. He could see. So he could see what was actually being done in that town. He made the kiddush for them. He made Bari Piragafen. This one individual drank, and then everybody did. Okay, and just going to finish up quickly with Havdalah. He says, B'motzoi Shabbos. So on Saturday night, Ma'avti v'holech v'kol HaShabbos kulo. So we said that if you did not make Havdalah Saturday night, you're permitted to make Havdalah the entire for the next week. So what does that mean the next week? He says Vad Kama, until when? What does that mean? You can make it for the next week. Amar Rabbi Zeir Ad Revi'i B'Shabbos, up until what's Yom Revi'i? Wednesday, right? Until Wednesday. In other words, before Wednesday, right? So, and we're going to have to stop right there because our time is up. But so that means that you can make, if you did not make Havdalah Saturday night, you can go through Tuesday. Yes, Rita?
Is it still Shabbos all those days?
Wait, Rita?
So, when we make kiddush, everybody drinks wine. When we make Havdalah, the only one who drinks the wine is the person who makes the Havdalah. We all say amen, and we're say with the Havdalah.
You've never been to my house on Saturday night. Well, all my kids wanted some of the wine, so.
Nobody ever drinks wine. It's only, we were told that only the guy who makes Havdalah.
Different places are going to do it differently.